Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Planet Tyro. I am already laughing because we're going to be talking about a book series that I have been fond of for a number of years, but I reviewed it a couple of years ago and the review got me into a bit of trouble. I actually had to delist the review. It was still on the channel, but I had to remove it, and that was because of a kerfuffle with the author. I mean, it's a funny story, honestly, but we're going to be talking about Brent Weeks' The Lightbringer Saga, which I believe ended last year, but I wanted to wait for Graphic Audio's super production take on it to finish before I discuss it, and even that turned out to be a mess. But yeah, guys, I know a lot of people for years people asked me to talk about this discussion, and when I did back in 2015, they didn't like what I had to say, but I'll get into why, guys. So, but if you have no idea what I'm talking about, this one's a bit of a long ride. It's going to be a review and a discussion. It's going to be ranty and all over the place. So, you know, please skip if you don't want to get into it. But yeah, I have a lot, I like the series. Before we even get into it, I like this series. Now it's complete. I can tell you, I like it. I recommend it. But there was some chaos with this one that we'll get into right after this.
Check them out. Books. Check them out.
And we're back to talk about the Lightbringer Saga, a series of 5 books made by Brent Weeks. I think I might have already reviewed one of his other book series, the Night Angel trilogy, which I really liked. I'm pretty sure I reviewed it. I'll put a link in the YouTube card if you missed that discussion. I think Brent Weeks is a very good writer, and the Lightbringer Saga, the potential was so sky high, and I just thought this is going to be one of my favorite fantasy dramas, up there with Mistborn. I think Mistborn is an amazing series. I haven't even finished Mistborn because, you know, we got that future 3 books to talk about, but Lightbringer has so much potential, so well written, so many great characters. But what happened was, if you guys don't know, when I reviewed it back in 2015, the author was writing it as a trilogy. He thought it was a trilogy, but as he was writing the 3rd book, he came to the conclusion that, nope, sorry guys, there's too much story. I've got more ideas. This isn't a trilogy anymore. This is now going to be 5 or even 6 books. The fan base were kind of upset. Even Graphic Audio, the production company that has multiple voices and super high quality, they were kind of like, damn, we were selling this as a trilogy and now we got to wait. So we thought we was done with this in 2015, and it took an extra 4 years to finish. And I believe the last book was called The Burning White. 2 more books after the trilogy, it finished. I was really irritated because the book is kind of dense and there's a lot to understand. And after you're catching up with the story, you know, all the characters, you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to forget all this stuff. And I complained about it. In fact, here's a clip of me complaining about this back in 2015. I checked on Goodreads, some of the reviews. Most of them agree that the series didn't need to be 4 books, or however long it's going to be. It just holds itself back. If this was just tighter, but it's good for what it is. It's a good fantasy book. It's different from all the rest, but honestly, you've seen a lot of these ideas before. But this book, if you like fantasy, you like action fantasy, this is something I think that's worth checking out. I just wish it was bloody finished, because it just did not need to be 4 books, or however long they want to make it. That really let me down. I'm sorry. To be honest, I'm a little bit ashamed of that review because it was just so much. I was so salty and so bitter. You know, the channel's changed a lot. I've got probably 500 more subscribers than I did back then when I did that review. And some of you might be thinking, what is the Lightbringer? I don't know what you're talking about. Man, I don't even want to get into the weeds of it, honestly, because I did it before. In fact, why don't you go check out the review if you want the outline. Basically, it's another setting about warring nations, super powerful beings, but it's a human story as well. These characters are human. It's not aliens. It's just set in a time where there's these powers Some humans can draft light energy, and the light energy gives them different powers. Some people can draft blue, purple, yellow, green, all the colors of the spectrum. It sounds kind of weird, like some kind of Captain Planet kind of thing, but it's really inventive, it's really cool, and the characters are really interesting as well. But when I read the original trilogy, I was a bit thrown by the depth of I gotta be honest with you, originally I was a bit thrown by the depth, and I was very superficial back then. I was much more, I feel like I'm a lot more learned as a reader now, and I could take this and enjoy it more. And when I heard that they actually finished, Brent Weeks was finished with the series, I read it from the beginning to end. And the reason why this review is a bit late is because graphic audio takes a bit longer. So the book was completed in 2019, but graphic audio finished it in 2020. Graphic audio had other issues, which I'm not even sure whether to blame them for. But look, here's my whole opinion on the Lightbringer Saga. I think when you look at it retrospectively as a whole, you can see that I felt like this is one of those times, although the writer had great ideas and great characters, this whole series now feels like one big draft. I feel like if he wrote this again, now that he's written the 5 books now, if he went back knowing everything he knows about the characters, the world, and if he rebooted, and let me put it that way, if he rebooted the saga, I think it would be so tight and so much more consistent, because all the ingredients are there, and even the ending's not even that bad. It's a little bit predictable-ish. And the book is kind of long-winded. I wish this was tighter. I wish he knew some of the things that ended up in the end. Look, one of the things I said in my original review for it was that I felt like it could have just been a trilogy. And no, actually, now that I've heard it all, I think this could be a great 4-book series. It could be a trilogy, but I just think there's a lot of meat here, and there's a lot of mythology, and there's a lot of characters, and I know everything he was building. To be honest with you, he could go the other way and make this a 6-book series if he introduced some of the things he introduced at the end near the beginning. This is actually, I apologize, because this is one of those reviews I don't even want to tell you what it's kind of about from the beginning. Explain. It's a fantasy action series, lots of things similar to Game of Thrones, lots of power-based stuff like Mistborn, and I really liked it. Great character stuff. Look, if you guys have watched my reviews, I think a lot of people say I've given good recommendations for good taste. This has been a famed book for so long, but it's been 10 years. The author started writing in 2010, and now we're in 2020, basically 9-10 years to finish, which isn't bad for such a good series. But just looking back on it now, I just want a Snyder cut. Well, not a Snyder cut, that doesn't make sense. I just really want him. I just think this book had so much potential, but I just feel like he was developing the story as it goes along, and it kind of shows. The last 2 books introduces so many things with the mythos that just hits you over the head, and it's just piled on. It just feels like, just imagine you were eating a pizza, you ask for let's say you want a vegetarian pizza, and then you find it's not spread out. There's all these vegetables, and they're just put in sections. They're not spread out as a mix. And that's the thing with the Lightbringer. I felt like as he was going on, the first 3 books, the pacing was a bit more tighter. It was a bit more straightforward. But the last 2 books seem very driven on building the mythos of this universe and introducing entities that you haven't heard about until these last 2 books. Lots of god stuff and lots of powers and spirits, and it's not bad, but it just wasn't there in the beginning. It just feels like we're entering a new stage, and then yeah, it does drag on. I mean, the last book I felt it dragged on a lot. But in saying all of that, do I think the Lightbringer is a good series? It's a really good series. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. This is another reason why I don't like reading things until they're finished, because it skews my perception. I don't give good reviews, and even now this is partly a rant, because I do think, honestly, constructively, I think he's got great characters, a really good story, good power structure, good world building overall, but the execution is a bit of a mess. Even now, even though I've calmed down, I've read the series twice now, I just think this doesn't reach its full potential, but everything's there. Here's my rating. If you've never heard of this series before, you like fantasy, you like action, you like Mistborn, you like the Night Angel, what he did before, check out Lightbringer. It's really good. And I would give it a solid B. I can't give it any more than that because I just feel this series is kind of inconsistent, lopsided, uneven, but really interesting, really cool, really good. And I really like the characters and the good story. Ending's a bit meh, but it ends, and I like the ending. Long-winded, just so many things. This is just one that needs adjusting, fixing, trimming. But Brent Weeks is a really good writer. I like the Night Angel trilogy before. I like this series. It's annoying that he didn't know it was a 5-book series until, you know, until whatever. I'm not even complaining. Sometimes a good story is worth waiting for. I went on Goodreads and I was reading what, you know, other people thought. A lot of people didn't actually like the concepts he came with at the end. A lot of the mythos and gods and spirit things at the end, which I can understand, because again, it isn't there in the beginning, so it doesn't feel consistent. You just hear about the characters in the present for the first 3 books. Then in the last 2 books, you go into the past. A lot of this mythos thing, it just feels like he kind of changed trajectory. Here's an anime reference. You watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and the author is writing, you know, the first 2 parts, and then he comes up with the stands idea. And then he just kind of course corrects. Not bad, and it's even better for the story, but then you might wish that from the beginning it was stands. Now I've just gone onto an anime one. I'm just trying to make it coherent or make it relatable or trying to explain myself, but this is one of the weirdest reviews I've ever done. So let's talk about look, I love the audiobook performance of this. Let's get back to graphic audio. Graphic audio did a phenomenal job, but my God, something happened with graphic audio at the end that so many people complained about, and I don't know if I can even blame graphic audio. As I said before, graphic audio, they have multiple voice actors for the characters, and I think, was it the last book or the last 2 books? I think it was the very last book. 3 of the main characters are recast, and it is just a hard pill to swallow, because this is one of graphic audio's best productions. I think the actors, the voice actors are phenomenal, and I can't even blame them, because, you know, they were hanging around for 10 years. They were doing this back in 2010, and now it's 2020. I don't know what happened to the voice actors. I don't think they died or anything. Maybe they just left graphic audio. But the last book replaces 3 characters, including Gavin and Kip, and I believe I can't remember, it was the guard. Was it Blackguard, or I can't remember. They replaced 3 characters, and those new voice actors weren't even bad, but you were just so used to those 3 characters that when they changed, it hurt. So I was, you know, I don't even know whether graphic audios, because graphic audio, here's another thing as well. Sorry about this, guys. I'm just going on super tangents now. Here's another thing. Graphic audio, they kind of stretch out the narrative. They make the books a bit longer. So if you get the normal audiobook on Amazon or Audible, it's shorter. And I kind of, you know, I'm not sure if I'm going to recommend this as an audiobook. Just get the Audible version with one narrator. It's just more consistent and you might enjoy it more. Graphic audio, I don't know if I can recommend this, because it's very long-winded. They change the voice actors at the end, and I actually think graphic audio stretch this out. They do, because they pad it out with more scenery and make it more like a movie. I'm not sure if this works in graphic audio as well. It's great in the beginning, but by the end, when you just think it's a bit too bloated, I just don't know if this should be just enjoyed as a one-person, just get it off Audible. So anyway, look, I enjoyed the Lightbringer series saga. The Lightbringer Saga now is over. It was well written, great story, but to me, it's just a really good book. It's not as great as I hoped. It's not on Mistborn level, has a lot of potential, but it's just inconsistent all over the place. But I do like it, and you know what? I still recommend it. It's a good, really good, enjoyable fantasy series with problems, you know, and most of it has got to do with execution. Execution. And if I go on anymore, you guys are going to execute me for rambling so much. If you got to the end of this review or me just rambling about it, thank you so much. And I'm sorry I didn't even explain what the Lightbringer is about, but this is my second review for this series. The first review I did, I'm not even proud of it, because I was just miffed and bitter about it being extended last minute, but I will put a link to that discussion in the YouTube card. But I think the Lightbringer series is worth checking out. Let me just say that. Forgive me for my rambles. Thank you for listening so much, and I'm glad I got this in one take. I don't even think I have to edit this down so much. What did you think of the Lightbringer Saga? Did you stick through? Have you gone back? Do you know it's over? Go back and finish Lightbringer. Do you disagree with me, agree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for hearing me just waffle about this. I'm glad it's over. And honestly, guys, I wasn't even going to do another recording for this, but just because of the history I have and people was upset with my first review, and now it's over, this is just tying up a loose end. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're on YouTube, click on some of our other content. We've got hundreds of reviews, literally hundreds of reviews on anime, TV, and everything else. I will speak to you soon. Peace out.